Have you ever looked back at a moment in your life and thought, what was I thinking? Maybe it was a message you shouldn't have sent. A woman you kept chasing even when your gut screamed at you to walk away. Or maybe, just maybe, it was trusting someone who never deserved it. Let me ask you something even deeper. What if the key to building a powerful, love-filled, respected life isn't just in what you do, but in what you refuse to do? Today we're diving into 6 things intelligent men never do, and trust me, these lessons don't just change how others see you, they change how you see yourself. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll walk away with something most men never have: emotional freedom, self-respect, and quiet power. Power that can change your love life forever. So before we begin, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, because every week, we bring you real, raw insights like this, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Let's get into it. Number 1, intelligent men never beg for love. Let me tell you something that might sting a little, but it's something every intelligent man learns eventually. The moment you beg for love, you stop being loved. It usually starts with a subtle shift. She's not texting back as quickly. She's suddenly too busy to see you. The energy, the affection, it all feels like it's evaporating slowly, and you start wondering what changed. So you do what most guys do when they start to feel her slipping away. You try harder. You send that extra message. You call even when she doesn't answer. You write long paragraphs explaining how much she means to you, hoping, praying that she'll remember how it used to be. But here's the hard truth. Love doesn't return when you chase it. In fact, the more you beg, the further it runs. See, intelligent men understand that begging for love isn't love at all. It's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear of rejection. But what you're really doing in those moments is handing her your self-worth, wrapped up in desperation. And nothing, absolutely nothing, kills attraction like desperation. There's a guy I used to know, Mark. Brilliant guy, ambitious, charming when he was himself. But when his girlfriend started pulling away, he lost himself. He started checking her social media constantly, asking her friends if she was talking to someone else, showing up unannounced just to talk. He thought he was fighting for love, but what he didn't realize was he was destroying his dignity. Because once you feel the need to convince someone to love you, you've already lost. Intelligent men don't beg, they observe. And when they see that the love is no longer mutual, they step back. Not because they're heartless, but because they value themselves too much to stay where they're not fully seen. They know love should feel reciprocated, not negotiated. And yeah, walking away hurts. But here's what doesn't hurt. Looking at yourself in the mirror and knowing you didn't lower your standards to keep someone who wasn't meant to stay. You want to know what actually pulls people toward you? It's self-respect. It's calm confidence. It's the strength to say, if you can't love me fully, then I'll give that love to myself instead. So if you're in a place where you feel like you're constantly trying to prove your worth to someone, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, am I chasing love, or am I running from being alone? Because intelligent men, wise men, don't chase people. They attract what belongs by becoming the kind of man who never needs to beg again. Number 2, intelligent men never overshare their struggles to win sympathy. Let's be real. Life is hard sometimes. We all carry battles inside, some louder than others. Maybe you were raised in chaos. Maybe your heart got shattered by someone you trusted. Maybe you feel like the world has knocked you down one too many times. And the weight of it all, it gets heavy. So naturally, you want someone to understand. And that's where a lot of men slip. They start oversharing, not for healing, but for validation. They sit across from someone, maybe a woman they care about, and suddenly, all their wounds spill out. Every hardship, every betrayal, every scar. They put it all on the table like a resume of pain, hoping for a kind touch, a soft word, you deserve better. But here's the harsh truth. Intelligent men understand that vulnerability is a tool, not a weapon of manipulation. They don't bleed all over someone hoping to be seen as worthy of love or sympathy. Because when your struggles become your identity, you lose your power. See, there's a difference between authentic vulnerability and emotional dumping. Intelligent men know when to share and how much to share. They understand that not everyone has earned the right to witness their darkness. Not everyone is equipped to carry it. Here's what happens when you overshare too soon. Or too often, it shifts the dynamic. You go from being a man of depth to someone who feels fragile, And fragility, when worn like a badge, can push people away, especially women who are looking for emotional safety, not emotional instability. Let me tell you about a guy named Jordan. Good guy, kind heart. He'd been through a lot. Parents divorced, lost his job, dealt with depression. When he started dating a woman he really liked, he thought being honest meant sharing everything right away. Every trauma, every fear, every dark night. At first she was compassionate, but eventually she told him, "I don't feel safe around you. You feel unstable, like I have to save you." And that crushed him, because he wasn't trying to be saved. He just wanted to be loved. That's the trap. Intelligent men know that the most powerful version of vulnerability isn't saying, "Look how much I hurt." It's saying, "Yeah, I've been through hell, but look at me now. I'm still here." They share scars, not open wounds. They don't manipulate emotions to get closer to someone. They build trust slowly, with calm confidence. So ask yourself this: are you sharing to connect, or are you spilling your soul hoping someone will fix you? Because the truth is, you don't need to be fixed. You need to be respected. And respect doesn't come from how much you've been through. It comes from how you carry it. Speak your truth, but speak it like a man who's already healed, or at least a man who's healing himself, without needing applause for the effort. That's what intelligent men do. Number 3, intelligent men never try to prove their worth to others. Let me ask you something personal. How many times have you bent yourself just to be liked? How often have you put on a mask, exaggerated your achievements, laughed at jokes you hated, or stayed silent when you should have spoken up just to be accepted? We've all done it. There's this deep craving inside us as men, especially when we're younger, to be seen, to be validated. Maybe it starts in school when the cool kids ignored you. Maybe it was your father, who never said he was proud of you. Or maybe it was that one girl, the one who made you feel like you had to be more to be enough. So you work harder, you dress sharper, you talk louder, you try to prove you're smart, successful, attractive, worthy. But intelligent men, those who've tasted self-respect, know this one truth. The moment you start performing for others, you stop living for yourself. There was a man named Dev, brilliant, talented. But every room he walked into, he scanned for someone to impress. Whether it was at work, with friends, or on dates, he was always on. Always highlighting his resume. Always dropping hints about his car, his gym routine, his income. You know what people said about him behind his back? He's trying too hard. And that's the trap. The more you seek to prove your value, the more people sense the insecurity behind it. It's like trying to hold water with your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. You want to know what people really admire? The man who doesn't need to say a word. The one who walks in the room and doesn't care if you notice his shoes or his watch, because he knows who he is, and he doesn't need your validation to confirm it. That kind of quiet power, it's magnetic, because when you don't seek approval, you earn respect. Think about it. Has anyone ever made you feel small? And instead of walking away, you tried harder to earn their approval? You gave more, shared more, did more, only to end up feeling less? That's because you were giving them your power. Intelligent men don't do that. They don't chase people, attention, or applause. They focus on becoming, not convincing. They let their presence speak louder than their words. They build, they grow, they evolve, not for the world, but for themselves. And that's when the world starts to notice. So if you find yourself constantly trying to explain your worth, prove your goodness, or beg for a seat at someone's table, pause, step back, and remember, the moment you realize your worth isn't up for negotiation, you become untouchable. You don't need to prove yourself. You just need to be yourself, unapologetically, authentically, and fully. That's what makes intelligent men unforgettable. Number 4, intelligent men never stay where they are not respected. There's a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a man realizes something has shifted. He walks into a room where his presence used to be welcomed, and now it feels like he's just tolerated. The warmth fades, the eye contact shortens, his voice gets talked over, his opinions get brushed off, and slowly, subtly, the respect disappears. That moment, that's the crossroads where intelligent men choose to either reclaim their worth or betray it. See, staying in a place where you are not respected doesn't just chip away at your confidence, it erodes your identity. Whether it's in a relationship, a workplace, a friendship, or even your own family. If you're constantly being dismissed, undermined, or made to feel less than, you begin to believe that's all you deserve. But let me tell you something that every intelligent man learns sometimes. The most powerful thing you can do is walk away. I knew a guy named Tarek, quiet strength, loyal to the bone. He was in a relationship for 3 years with a woman who constantly criticized him. Nothing he did was enough. His success was downplayed. His effort was invisible. She rolled her eyes when he spoke, made jokes at his expense in front of others. And every time he tried to explain how it made him feel, she said, "You're just being sensitive." He stayed because he thought love meant patience. But love without respect? That's not love. That's emotional starvation. When a man chooses to stay where he's not respected, he teaches others that it's okay to treat him that way. And the longer he stays, the harder it is to remember what respect even feels like. But Tarek eventually hit his limit. He didn't yell. He didn't fight. He didn't explain himself anymore. He just left. And the crazy thing? That moment was the first time she truly looked at him like a man. But by then it was too late. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you command by the way you carry yourself, and more importantly, by what you refuse to tolerate. Intelligent men understand this deeply. You don't force people to value you. You simply remove yourself from spaces that don't. Because the longer you stay in disrespectful environments, the more they define you. And you weren't put on this earth to shrink for people who refuse to see your worth. So if someone constantly mocks you, dismisses you, or talks down to you, hear this. You are not the problem. Their inability to recognize your value is. Don't explain. Don't argue. Just rise and leave. Respect is not a request. It's a standard. And intelligent men protect that standard. Like their soul depends on it, because it does. Number 5, intelligent men never ignore red flags even if they're in love. Let's talk about one of the hardest lessons a man ever learns. Love is not enough. It's not enough to make her stay. It's not enough to change someone's character. And it's definitely not enough to erase the red flags you hope will go away. See, intelligent men don't fall in love with potential. They fall in love with patterns. Because love without awareness is a trap. There's a story I'll never forget. A friend of mine, Marcus, deep thinker, emotionally grounded, met a woman who swept him off his feet. She was beautiful, charismatic, and at first seemed like everything he'd ever wanted. But within a few weeks, things started feeling off. She'd disappear for days and say, "I just needed space." She flirted openly with other men, then laughed and said, "You're being possessive." She dismissed his feelings as drama, and every disagreement ended with her ghosting him until he apologized, even when he wasn't wrong. Now Marcus, he knew those were red flags. He saw them. But he was already emotionally invested, already imagining a future, already calling it love. So he stayed, and every time he ignored his gut, every time he said, "Maybe she'll change," or "Maybe I'm just overthinking it," he chipped away at his own self-respect. He told his heart that her beauty was more important than his peace, that her love, conditional and inconsistent, was worth more than his standards. Until one day she didn't come back. She left without explanation, and Marcus was left not just heartbroken, but feeling like a stranger to himself. That's what ignoring red flags does. It doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your ability to trust yourself. But intelligent men, they don't negotiate with red flags, because they know that what you ignore early will destroy you later. It's not about being cold, it's about being clear. Clear on what you want, clear on what you deserve, and clear on what you're never going to tolerate, no matter how good the chemistry feels. Because real love is not built on walking on eggshells. It's built on safety, consistency, and mutual respect. So if she's hot one day and ice cold the next, if she belittles you, mocks your ambitions, or makes you feel like you're never enough, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to argue. You need to walk. Your soul is not a rehabilitation center for someone who refuses to grow. Your heart is not a home for chaos. Intelligent men listen when the gut whispers, "This doesn't feel right," and they trust that voice no matter how deep the feelings go. Because ignoring red flags in the name of love, that's how men lose themselves. And intelligent men never sacrifice their soul for someone who doesn't value it. Number 6, intelligent men never stop improving themselves, even when no one is watching. Let me ask you something. Who are you when no one's watching? When there's no audience, no applause, no one to impress, just you and your reflection? That's the moment most people stop trying. When the spotlight fades, they slow down. They slack off. They wait until someone's watching again before they care enough to grow. But intelligent men, they live differently. They improve in the dark so they can shine in the light. There's a story of a man named Rohan. You'd never notice him in a crowd, quiet, reserved, not flashy. But every single morning while the world slept, he was up, reading, running, meditating, learning. No Instagram story, no posts, no validation. And one day, just like that, people started asking, how did he get so good? How did he become so wise, so calm, so grounded? The truth? He built himself in silence. You see, intelligent men don't grow to impress others. They grow because they understand that the biggest investment they'll ever make is in themselves. They don't read books to look smart. They read to expand their mind. They don't hit the gym for likes. They train because their body is their temple. They don't learn skills to show off. They learn to evolve, to prepare for life's unknowns. Because life doesn't warn you before it breaks you. It doesn't give you time to get strong before the storm hits. It just comes. And in that moment, it's not how many followers you have. It's whether you've trained in the silence mentally, physically, emotionally, to endure it. Think about it. The day your heart gets broken, will you have the strength to heal without becoming bitter? The day your plans fall apart, will you have the clarity to rebuild without losing yourself? That strength doesn't come from comfort. It comes from discipline in the unseen hours, from doing the work when no one's cheering, from becoming a man who doesn't need praise to feel purposeful. Intelligent men know there's no such thing as maintaining. You're either growing or you're dying. So every day they choose growth, not for the world, for themselves, because they're the ones who have to live with themselves when the lights go off. And here's the truth, when you live that way eventually, the world takes notice. Not because you tried to be seen, but because you couldn't be ignored. So never stop sharpening your mind. Never stop fortifying your body. Never stop deepening your spirit. Even when nobody's clapping, even when it feels like no one cares. Because one day everything you did in silence will echo in your success, your peace, your power. And when people ask, how did you become the man you are? You'll smile, because you'll know the answer was never out there. It was always in the dark. If you found yourself in these stories, know this: it's never too late to become the man you were meant to be. Every mistake is a lesson. Every heartbreak a chapter in your growth. And the beauty of being an intelligent man isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing wisdom over ego, peace over pride, purpose over performance. So the next time you feel the urge to beg, overshare, stay, fix, shrink, or change who you are for love, remember these stories and choose differently. Because the moment you begin living by these principles, everything changes. Not just how others treat you, but how you treat yourself. And when that shift happens, your love life, your whole life transforms. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.